All right, hopefully this will be a quick one. So we want to cover finding text today. Let's say we're on the Xpath wiki page and we're looking for like this 1998 right here. We could make it really complicated to make sure that we're looking right next to first appeared, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to look for just the text 1998 in a vacuum, or mostly in one. So we're going to click into our inspect. Let's go look and see what this looks like. So we've got a TD, the class of infobox-data, so that's our attribute, but then outside of the tags, in between the tags rather, not an attribute, we have the text just floating out in space. So if we were to try and do an attribute like we have in the past, it just wouldn't work. It's not an attribute, it's more like a child in a way. So let's go look at our cheat sheet real fast. We can see that text match is more like a function. So in this case, the example, they have a button somewhere on the page that, just like before in brackets, kind of like how we did attributes, we have this text, but notice it has not an at the front, but a paren. It's kind of like it's a jQuery sort of function sort of thing. Don't worry too much about that. We're just going to say text paren equal to whatever text we're looking for. In this case, they've got a button with submit. Voila. So let's go back and look at this. All right, so we've got a TD with text equal to 1998. All right, well, control F on my little Chromebook here. I'm gonna say / TD. I'm gonna put some brackets. I'm gonna say text, paren, open and close parens, equal to, and use single quotes in this case. You can use double quotes, single quotes, it's whatever your preference. I like single quotes, 1998. And look at that, got a highlight right there. Apparently it's the only place on the entire page where there's both a TD that has a text of 1998. So that's good. But then let's look right below it. We've got this stable release 3.1 / March 21st, 2017, semicolon, 4 years ago. If I were to inspect on this, we'll see it's a div. And we expand it out and see this funky thing. Now it's got a non-breaking space in here. It's got if we click into this, you can see there's lots of extra space in here. That could be problematic, especially if like maybe this, I don't know, maybe the spaces change or something funky with this. It's really, this can be a little difficult to deal with. And there are plenty of examples all over the web where there's extra spaces or extra things like that. So what do we actually care about in here? Well, there's a div, there's a 3.1, and there's like a March 21st and a 2017. Okay, well, let's try just looking for that. So we'll look for div, and we'll copy all this. Now I already know this isn't gonna work. And it's not quite a match for what's really here, and it's just not liking it. It's a div with text equal 3.1 space, I think. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. It's just a mess. So this is where we can look at an alternate option, matching a substring. And here we have the contains command. Now the contains command can be used for more than just text. You can use it for, well, anything really. Anything that contains some sort of object. So you could say it contains a div, or you could say it contains all sorts of fun stuff. But in this case, we're just gonna look at the text. We're gonna say it contains text, and notice it's not equal to anymore. It takes like 2 parameters. It's the text function, comma, and then go. So this is some button that contains the text go. You could say go home or something, or go Godzilla. It doesn't matter, but it has to have the word go in this case. So let's try something like that. So we're gonna remove this bit. Actually, I'm just gonna be lazy and just remove the whole thing. So we're gonna say it's a div that contains paren, then inside the parentheses, we're going to put the text, comma, quote, and already it's finding things that have, I guess, like a non-space or something. It's not super helpful. So let's look for the 3.1, and already it's the only thing on the page that has a 3.1. That's pretty good. If we wanted to go further, we could add more of these if we want. Just like any other sort of any other building that we've done, you can stack these square brackets together. So I could do another contains, like so, and then say it contains more text. And let's say it has the word March in it. That's good. So it's still finding it. If we said January, it doesn't find it. So it has to find March. And I can keep doing these. I can just keep stacking them. So I'm going to copy that, plop one on the end, and we'll say we also want to get 21. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, it will. Okay, well, 17. I guess there's only one space in between here. Very interesting. All right, well, there we go. So now we have this. I'll just move this over just a wee bit. Oh, that didn't work. Well, here we go. We've got a div that contains 3.1 and contains March and contains 21, 2017. We can do that. We can stack these to the moon if we really want. In this case, I think that achieves what we want. But yeah, that's all there is to the text equals and contains text commands. There's lets you find things, and you can stack these with other attributes if you want. So let's say I want to I can drop a lot of this because frankly we don't really need it in this case. But let's say I wanted to make sure I found the div that had the style of margin, or in fact, let's do a contains on this one. So we'll do a contains, and we'll stick style in here for fun. So it contains a style, and that is an attribute. And remember, it does take 2 parameters. So we have the comma, and we have some single quotes here, and then I can say what sort of style it contains. It contains a margin, right? And I can be as specific or not specific as I want. So here it's margin : 0 pixels, 0 px, and that finds it. If I said something else like vertical height vh, it obviously doesn't find it because that's not what's here. It's margin 0 pixels, not vh. So you have to be more specific, or you can be less specific. If you only want to know the one that has margin as the style, or let's say this was a class that you knew was very specific, you could do that. So now we're finding the div that contains both the text 3.1, there's your 3.1 on this div, and the style margin. Easy.